Coaches versus Cancer golf tournament weekend in Vegas. It starts up on the 18th, goes through the 20th, and Dalen Cuff is part of it. He's a host for SiriusXM on their college sports channel and ESPN and college basketball coverage. Dalen is Cofield in Vegas. Greg is here as well. How are you, buddy?
Oh, it's good to be on with you, and I loved your intro, by the way. I mean, you just sound so exasperated about what we have to do in modern sports media. You know, Celtics lose twice. It's not even over. We got to get rid of the team. We got to break it up. Yep. It's got to be done. I'm here to give you a break from that, though.
I love hot takes. I really do. But this one, I'm like, it's too much for me. It's too much. Okay, before we get into some college basketball stories and kind of review the season, some off-season stories, tell me your involvement with Coaches versus Cancer and what you think of this event.
I love being part of this group. And American Cancer Society is the overarching organization. Is Coaches versus Cancer is one of their verticals to really raise money and really what American Cancer Society mission is to end cancer as we know it for everyone. It's a lofty goal, but what else are we doing here? And they'll, just like everybody else, I'm sure most of your listeners and probably you guys have somebody that has been touched or maybe personally by cancer yourselves and in a negative way. I lost my father going on 13 years now to cancer in a battle that, honestly, I think if he had the resources and the understanding and the some of the things American Cancer Society has provided now, maybe he wins that battle. Maybe we have him for another month or 6 months or 2 years. I don't know. But I think losing him has made me want to be part of this. I was inspired to do it by Sean Farnham, one of my colleagues at ESPN who lost his father-in-law and has been really involved with ACS the last 7 or 8 years. And now is on the board of American Cancer Society. He will be out there in Vegas as well. We will be playing at the same foursome together. It'll be fun. But most importantly, we'll be co-hosting the event on Monday night. It is we're co-hosting the event there to just try to raise money, as much money as possible. But there's other things that's real quick. There's some of your listeners you can do that really affect the mission and what American Cancer Society is doing. The simplest thing: get yourself screened. Like, that's the biggest thing. That's what most of the messaging we put out there all year when the Suits and Sneakers Weeks going on in college basketball in January and other Coaches versus Cancer events. Yes, we need money. Yes, Road Recovery is a great program. You can drive people to their treatments, but the most base thing you can do is take care of yourself, and that has by far the biggest impact. So I hope anybody listening does kind of understand that. If you keep yourself first when it comes to your safety as it relates to cancer, that does yourself really well good and does the whole mission. It changes the whole mission.
You can donate at cancer.org, and you mentioned the driver program. That really is important because a lot of people, when they get sick, they don't have any way to get to treatment. And that's the brainchild of Lon Kruger, Kevin Kruger, the whole Kruger family, very special to people here in Las Vegas. And he's the host. He's one of the guys who started this whole thing. This is his big golf event. So he's done some amazing things over the years.
Real quick, just on Lon and Kevin and their involvement. Yeah. Like, this is the showpiece event, to your point, because this is, I mean, we're going to raise $2+ million. We're at Shadow Creek, Cascada, Southern Highlands. You can buy a ticket to the gala, I believe, or the event, I believe. Like, it is an awesome experience. If you can get involved and play a foursome, they spare no expense to make sure you have an amazing experience, so that your donation and your dollars go a long way, and have great partners like MGM Grand and the courses themselves, so that they're not shelling out a lot of money, but we'll be able to take a lot of donations in and give a first-class experience. So, yeah, shout out to Coach Kruger, who does this is so much of this is his brainchild, and I'm honored to be a part of it. As it relates to the fourth, story and then winning the national championship, it was interesting too. I was on with some shows in November. One of my favorite long shot plays, the book was either 20 or 25 to 1. You could find it different places. Florida to win the whole thing. It seemed crazy then, but as they started to develop, we realized it wasn't. I've known Tom Golden since he was the volunteer assistant at Columbia 13 years ago. Got to know him when Kyle Smith was the coach, who's now the coach at Stanford. And Kyle's funny because he would tell me, and I just quit my job marketing and advertising in New York City to try to be a broadcaster in 2011. And I remember him talking to me one time, because on that staff was Kobe Altman, who's now the president of the Cavs, Kevin Hovde, who's now Columbia's head coach, which just happened a couple months ago. I'm very excited about that. Carlin Harbin, who's probably one of the best assistants in the country. Yep. Mike Magpaio, who was the UC Riverside head coach, now the Fordham head coach. And CJ Andrechuk was basically not a grad assistant, a in-school assistant brainchild, just crunching numbers with how they used analytics, and the metrics they were using back then was very advanced. He's now the coach at Campbell, head coach. Like, that staff, I remember Kyle saying to me, I don't know much, Cuff, but I know talent. And this staff is loaded. And man, was he right, bro. It is ridiculous how good that staff was at the time. And also they made Columbia much better, got them to chances at places where they had not been in 20, 30 years. And then he went on to San Francisco. Todd eventually went with him to San Francisco after a little stop at Auburn to be assistant for Bruce Pearl. And then Todd gets his shot at USF, get that team into the tournament, and then gets a shot at Florida. And I knew they would be successful because, like I said, known Todd for a long time. I didn't know they were going to win a championship in his first 3 years. I didn't know they were going to Final Four. But how he's run that team and how they've improved defensively, their versatility, how they play offensively and analytically, how he attacks certain situations. Remember, guys, most teams would have not won that game against Texas Tech. They chose to foul with almost 3 minutes to go. And he's done this for years now. He will foul in a hack-a-shack type manner based on who's got the ball and percentages more than anybody else in college basketball because he's playing the numbers, he's playing the odds, and doing things in a way that are unorthodox but yield results. They fouled once, they got a missed free throw, they go bang a three. They fouled twice, they get a missed free throw, they go bang a three. They were down 9. All of a sudden, they're down 3 with under 2 minutes to go. They were down 9 with 3 minutes to go. This guy what he's done is outstanding. He will also be at the event out in Vegas and be one of the honorees as well there, and being playing with Forsum. So excited to see Todd out there and see him swinging the sticks. But Florida's got a good thing going, man. He's got extended too, and that they're just going to keep on rolling down there.
Talking to Dalen Cuff, ESPN CBB expert, college basketball. Should Villanova be excited about Kevin Willard? Because, I mean, they're trying to do the same thing over there, obviously, and he just announced their new staff. How excited they should be over at Villanova?
Well, I think what they're excited about, if you're Villanova or any Big East team, this is weird to say this in modern college basketball. They don't have football, and that's a good thing right now. Because of how settlement is supposedly going to shake out with the revenue sharing, you get about just over $20 million to spread across all your sports. Well, when you don't have football, all of that's going to basketball now. So teams like UConn's got you don't have to spend $20 million, you spend up to $20 million. But UConn's got reportedly you have $10 million budget they're working with. St. John's is getting recruits. Villanova's got big money. And they're pouring this money in now before that settlement comes into effect and changes some of the NIL rules that may or may not be governed properly. We'll distract your audience with that. But the system is trying to change itself. And when the system changes itself, it's going to be advantageous for Villanova and the other Big East teams. We've already seen it in this offseason in terms of the transfer portal. I think he's assembled, a good staff. He is a good coach. I don't like the way he went out at Maryland. I don't like the way he made it about the organization and himself and the lack of resources going into an NCAA tournament with a team that was really talented. I think that was poorly managed, all of it. That said, guy can win games. Won at Seton Hall, won at Maryland. Very good coach, smart guy, like him a lot. I think they can have a lot of success there. And I think those Big East teams are primed right now financially to do things that other teams can't do that have to pay their football teams of that $20 million, 75% of it, 70% of it, especially in the SEC. The ACC teams are trying to get better in the Big Ten. A lot of that expenditure goes to the gridiron.
You can go up on Twitter, Coaches versus Cancer, get more information at cancer.org. Coaches versus Cancer in town, big golf tournament on Monday through next Wednesday. Dalen Cuff is with us from ESPN and SiriusXM. Let's close on this one. So we've got we've got government involvement, we think, with the Trump College Sports Commission. If they call you up, Dalen Cuff, and they're like, hey, we want you. You got to come in. You tell us about college basketball. What's the number one thing you want to fix?
Wow.
I know.
If they call me in, that's talk about a question. What's the number one thing I want to fix?
Yep.
We have so many issues, but I do think because the thing is with this house settlement problem, but here, you know what one issue is there has to be legislation. None of this stuff matters. It is all a joke until they're codified into law. So even if you want to give me an executive order, an executive action, that can be that will be tested. It will be tested legally. I imagine if for just a quick side note, they had a lobbying day with all 4 conference commissioners, all these coaches there, head coaches. Stark was there, Bruce Pearl is there. We got all the administrators down in DC. They're supposed to have a panel hosted by two of my colleagues with all 4 conference commissioners, and I got Ted Cruz coming up next, who's the sponsor of the legislation. That's going to be the big deal. That's who's going to change it. Here we go. Where's Ted Cruz? Stood aside. So, with 500 people in the room who fancy themselves, all of them, pretty important people in their own sectors, he doesn't post. So that lets you know where this fits in a Washington that has all these problems.
Yeah.
If there are no laws, I don't think they can get this thing done. So even if you give me the Trump Commission and I come and do this, and granted, laws are out the window with a lot of this stuff, so maybe I'm over my skis. But I imagine that if there is not a legal passage of laws saying, these athletes are not employees, here's how the transfer portal will work, here's how NIL works, and codify some of the house settlement stuff, and also protect them from future lawsuits. You have to protect them from antitrust lawsuits. Now, the problem is there has to be a good deal here, though, for both sides. And right now, I think the House settlement does make a pretty good deal. So if you codify some of this stuff and allow them to still make as much money as they want in the NIL market, that's the big problem. Then I think you can be okay. But if there is no legislation, then we can go sit in the White House and talk ourselves to we're blue in the face. But I don't think it really matters.